Catholic doctrine and abject obedience to the Pope, no matter how corrupt and venal that leader might be. A dull-haired woman sat on the throne, her belly bloated, her once sweet face twisted with misery and determination. And then the prize. At the end of the storm and the tempest came the rainbow. Colour and life so vibrant it nearly burst out of the lens into reality. Theatres rose on the banks of the Thames, with bright flapping banners to advise that a play was being given. Music and dancing gladdened the hearts of all. The presses clanged and rumbled as volumes of poetry and plays and books of theology and wondrous tales were imprinted for all to read. In the vision were some dark blots, poverty, cruelty, ignorance. But the FarSeers were aware that this was the human condition and simply accepted them. The mortals had been granted free will, and with that great gift came the privilege to abuse themselves and others. The point was to see to it that the bright and goodly things outnumbered the dark and dismal. And reigning over all of this was the red-haired queen, whose golden eyes were alight with curiosity and intelligence, and who strove to mould her subjects into a unified nation without making all alike. Even though the vision was unreal, an ephemeral thing, there came right through the lens a taste and smell of sweetness, of new thoughts, new beauty, vibrant excitement. And in this vision only, behind the queen, unmistakably, stood the she-lord, Denoriel Sensin Macreth Silverhair, and his twin sister, Eleniel Arwithian Isfael Silverhair. Eleniel, the youngest of the FarSeers, sighed at seeing her image in the lens. "I thought perhaps the mortal world would proceed without our help. I do not know if Denoriel—" Her voice faltered, for her sibling had been sorely injured in protecting the red-haired babe, who would be, if she lived, the queen of the joyous vision. She interlaced the long fingers of her supple hands together to keep them from trembling. "It is possible that Denoriel will not be able. The channels through which his powers flow were burned, and Mainwen does not yet know whether they will heal or how they will heal." "He must be able," Morwen, the next youngest of the FarSeers, said, firmly, as if her own will could impose wellness upon Denoriel. "You saw what would come if you were not in the vision. Dullness and misery we will survive. Other times like that have come and gone. But think what will follow if what is in the dark-haired queen's womb is born. Will Logoris survive? Will Avalon? Patience, balance." The FarSeer, with hair the colour of old gold and a gown in the style of Periclean Athens, held up a hand. "Arianel has already requested an audience. Perhaps the High King has knowledge we do not." She lifted her hand, and the others rose with her to fall in behind her. She led the way with head held high and every sign of serenity as they bent their path to the High King's palace. Eleniel wished that she had such serenity, then wondered if it really was composure on the part of their leader or only a counterfeit. Eleniel was very young among the she, to them barely adult. The leader of the FarSeers was as ancient in mortal years as the style of gown she favoured. She had thus had many years to cultivate a mask of calm repose. There was no sign of what the FarSeers had read in their lens as they walked beneath the star-bespangled false sky, between two rows of towering linden trees covered with silver-green leaves and golden flowers. The path beneath them was of soft and springy moss, interrupted only by artistically placed stones and clumps of violets and bluebells. Ahead of them stood a palace of lacy marble and alabaster that had changed little over the passing of the years. Avalon looked as it had for countless centuries, dreaming in an endless, peace-filled blue twilight.